Good afternoon. I am Tim Carter. I'm trying to figure out how to. Oh, there we go. How you doing? I am still getting used to using a laptop here. Uh, I hope you can hear me okay. I um, we're going to talk a little bit about drilling hard steel today. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff actually. Um, I've got a couple of updates on things. We're going to be eating a few grapes, um, and I'm needing your questions. So if you haven't checked in, check in. That's the polite thing to do on the Ask the Builder channel. And if you're new, list a superpower. What you're good at. That would really be helpful. And you're going to talk about a lot of things. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Good morning. Afternoon here. I don't know where you're at. Afternoon here. If it's morning, wow, where would you be if it was morning? Holy tomato. I don't know. India, Josh here, Steve. Hello. Anyway, a bunch of stuff to really talk about. Probably going to go off the rails a little bit later. Saw some very disturbing video 2 nights ago. Really disturbing. If you're not aware of what's going on in Shanghai, China, you should be. I also went to the grocery store today to get materials. That's what I call it. Got some unusual stuff, but pretty big bill, $350. And remember a few months back? I mean, it's kind of unpleasant to talk about. Remember how I told you? I mean, you don't. It's not that I'm psychic or anything. I told you how inflation was going to get worse, and every month it's getting worse. We're still not over. It's going to get a lot worse. Hi, Dave. How you doing? Yeah, rain in Indiana. It's been overcast all day here in New Hampshire. In the 50s. Had a really busy day early in the morning. I got a lot of stuff done. I mean, it's been crazy how much I've been getting done in the morning. All right, we're going to talk about how to drill hard steel. And if you have any questions about how to drill hard steel, go ahead and start asking them now. I'm actually going to give you a link right now to a video I did a long time ago. This video that I just put in the chat, that tells you everything you need to know. And it's gotten thousands of comments over the years. That video is so old. That video was recorded probably 22 years ago, as crazy as it sounds. I mean, you can tell just by the how grainy the video is. Long before HD cameras. That was recorded on probably, I don't know, $100,000 camera that you see your local news station guys, the ones they hold on their shoulder. One of those very, very expensive cameras. But that was the best quality they had at the time. Betamax or whatever. I don't know. All right. We're also going to look at this today. Let me grab it. This came yesterday. I don't know if we might do an unboxing. It's some kind of work lights that are stereo. I don't know. I don't know about this. Here, just I'm going to just say this real fast. I looked. Here's what it says. Work light says work light with speakers. And then it's got all these other languages. So I don't know what's up with that. At least we're first, all right. But here's the bright. Here's the LED bulbs, and I mean, generally you want the speaker part, to be aimed towards you, but you surely don't want the light aimed towards you, right? I mean, you'll be blinded. So I don't know about these. Right before I even open them up, I'm questioning them. Like, what's going on here? So anyway, if you have any questions about, I can make sure the chat's working fine. I assume you can hear me. Is that true? Are you able to hear me? Okay. I never know this piece of crap, 12-year-old. I don't know. Maybe it's 10-year-old laptop. And if you don't already know, the reason I'm not on the old iMac is because I'm looking behind me at this massive, massive curved monitor, brand new monitor I got, LG monitor, and I got a new Mac Mini. I haven't had a computer in 13 years, and what happens is I just started to feel that, well, my old computer was fine. It was still working okay, but wow, is it slow? This computer is so much faster. This new Mac Mini, holy tomato! All right, we'll just talk really quickly about how to drill steel, and we'll move on. Answer any questions that you have here. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if anybody else is. Seems like you'd want the light above the speaker. I don't know. I don't know. I just know. I don't know. I just know if I'm pointing the light at what I'm looking at, the sound is going away from me. That's all I know. I mean, that's hello, Vanessa. Sound is good. Light rain here in Minnesota. Okay, so it sounds good. So Josh has got a little latency at his place. Hello, Vanessa. Drilling steel, really simple. It's just so simple. Number one, you have to start out with a sharp bit, and it should be cobalt. And you need to have oil. You need to have oil happening while you drill. I mean, the more oil, the better, because the oil not only lubricates the cutting, it transfers some of the heat away from the drill bit, and it keeps the drill bit cool. As soon as the drill bit gets hot, it's over. You're done. You're going to burn up the bit, and it's game over. So you've got to keep oil, and they make special oils. For example, as plumbers, we have a special oil we use when we thread black iron pipe. I think it's got a high sulfur content. It really just used motor oil will do, any kind of motor oil. You don't have to waste a bunch of good oil. Um, but it's really, there's nothing really hard about it at all. If you're drilling a big hole, I can tell you it really helps to upsize the hole. Start with a small hole, and then just work your way up. Like drill a hole, like if you were going to drill a half inch diameter hole or 9/16 in steel plate, like quarter-inch plate, I'd probably be using 4 different drill bits. I'm serious. I would start with a quarter-inch and just kind of work my way up. If I use a 9/16 bit, forget about it. Hello, Jack. How you doing? But the key, and also the bit speed. You want to use a slow drilling speed. You don't need to make the drill go fast. The faster you go, the more heat's created, and you're going to burn up the bit. That's just that simple. All right. So if you have any questions, let me know. Happy to answer them. Here's the new thing with if I don't get any questions, I'm just going to bail. I'm just going to get out of here because I've got other stuff I can do. So I'm really trying to get you and others that are watching to ask questions, because the only reason I do live streams is to try to help you save money and time at your home. And you can ask anything. It doesn't have to be about drilling steel. I don't care. Well, I'll wait for questions. I'll give you some updates. So 2 days ago, I was kind of beating up. I was on a little mini rant about people that come to me for help, and then I tell them. Actually, it's 2 updates. I tell them typically it's far too much to type. All right, meaning I could type for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just for one person. A lot of people expect me to do that. They really do. They think that I have nothing better to do, and I just sit around my computer waiting to help them. All right. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Not even the police. Not even the police. I mean, have you ever called the police and sometimes they don't show up? All right. The I'll give you an example about that. Last summer, early in the morning, I heard some. I got woken up by two guys splashing in the water outside my home, and I thought, man, they sound really close, and I could hear they were having a conversation. And the one guy said, do you think you could make it over to that dock?" And so I thought, I, I got up and I go outside, and these two guys, these young men, had capsized a canoe. And the one guy's holding on to the canoe, and the other guy is swimming over to my dock. And the canoe guy is probably 50, 60 feet away. And they had been in the water a while, and it was kind of late spring. The water's still pretty chilly. And they were both intoxicated, all right? They had come from across the lake. They had a big jug of wine that capsized and was floating in the water. And so 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 I call 911 and tell the operator, "I've got somebody in the water here. The water's really cold, and I'm afraid that if you don't get somebody here right away, they're going to die." "Okay, we'll send somebody out." She got all the information where it was. I don't know. 40 minutes later, a police officer shows up. The fire department never came. Like the guys with the special suits, they don't have hypothermia, had a little rescue boat, some rope, whatever the fireman needs to rescue somebody who's drowning. They never showed up. All right, enough of that. I've got so many stories. If you just tapped in here, we already talked about drilling hard steel. If you want to know how to drill hard steel, you have a question, go ahead and ask it, because uh, I don't want to do it for everybody who's already heard it. Uh, Here's the update. Oh, well, Dave, you know what? I don't remember what degree my PAS load gun is. I got all PAS load, and it's a really comfortable angle. Um, I'll tell you right now. So here's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. I might, I'm going to say the PAS load's 30. 21 degree would be shallower and might be less stressful on the wrist. That'd be kind of interesting to test those two. 21 might be 21 degrees might be a really interesting angle. So I just can't remember. It's been so many years that I did specs, but I'm just, if I was a betting man, I would bet that the PAS load's 30 degree, but 21's being a little shallower. That should put less stress on your wrist. All right. Here's the quick updates on the calls. And then remember, if you have a question, Dave, that was a great question, by the way. Great question. Sorry, I don't have the answer. One person, I had told you about this woman that had called me or had sent me an Ask Tim question on the website. And she had a bad sewer gas problem. And she talked about how it was so bad, it's practically leaving her in tears. I mean, they've had two plumbers come out. They don't know what's going on. They did a smoke test with another company. She probably spent $500 at least on it, and it's not resolved. And I got the impression from her email, from what she sent me, like she was desperate. And I got back with her right away, and I told her, look, I can only solve sewer gas problems two ways. Number one, you can buy my book that I just wrote, cheaper. You probably figured it out yourself, or I'll call you on the phone. Here's what you got to do. Never heard from her. Well, finally, yesterday afternoon, so she must have had something going on. Could have been sick. I was probably a little impatient, but like I said, she sounded desperate. She did get back. So I'm going to consult with her tomorrow afternoon, about 6 o'clock. This other guy, this is really interesting. And I know I'm going to get more of these because as inflation goes up, money gets tighter. And I talked about this on my last two newsletters. All right. So um, this gentleman has got some very special exterior stairs. They're made out of white stone. They're kind of crumbling. He wants to repair them, and he wanted me to help. But sure, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to fix it. I said, you only get one chance to get this right. One chance. And I said, but it's going to require a conversation because there's just way too much to type. And so he emails me back a day later and a little huffy. And, like he said, if it requires a 15-minute conversation, I'm not going to be able to remember everything. So I'm just going to go find the information somewhere else. So I thought, okay. I mean, and I didn't respond back. I don't respond back because it doesn't move the ball down the field. But I just kind of wondered. I just thought, in your original email, you said to me that it's so important that it's done right, and I can tell you all the other information I've seen out there about how to make the repair that he's talking about. They don't talk about doing it the right way. So I just go, okay, all right, good luck, my friend. Life's full of decisions, make good ones. All right. Don said, Miss Monday's live stream. What should be used to fasten deck to house? My sound is sometimes breaking up. I don't know what would be causing that. I don't know what's going on. Well, here's how you do. Here. This is the answer to your question. There you go, Don. That is the answer to your question. It's more complicated than that. You have to use special hold down anchors that are connected with threaded rod that connect the deck ledger board well, actually not even the deck ledger board. It connects the joists to to the joist inside the house. You also have to know how to transfer the weight of the deck onto the ledger board onto the house too. And that same thing, these are just giant through bolts that you would use. So that's the way to do it. But what's far more important is the way that you have to completely waterproof the side of the house, how it's all layered, how it's all put together, and the all important flashing that goes on top of the deck ledger board that has an all important kick out. And for the kick out to work, you have to put a fire cut, a small fire cut in the top of the joist. And most people have never even heard of that term before. It's only because Steve were here, it's because of my silver hair. That's the reason I know about it. If you ask a carpenter that's 40 years old what a fire cut is, he would just look at you like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So Don, I hope that answers your question. Just go get that PDF file, and everything you need to know is right there. You say, I assume that it should not go through the flashing. Well, it has to go through the gray section water sheet. You're going to have a small hole, but I talk about in that document, how to seal that hole, but more importantly, how to keep water. You have to know how to keep water away from the back of the ledger board. There's only one way, and I have it in that document. It's really, really a good document. It's fantastic. It's actually appearing nationwide this coming week. I wrote a column about it. It's so important because my daughter's roommate down in Puerto Rico 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, she walked out onto a small deck. The deck collapsed, went to the ground with her on it. She broke her neck, ruptured her spleen. The young woman's she's partially disabled now for the rest of her life. So Um, if you don't build decks right, they're going to fall off the house. And I just did a consult. This is really interesting. Luckily, that one is going to be something I talked to her father. He made today. I've told you on Monday. I did a. Here's another thing I do for people. It's really not. It's you can't scale it, and so that's a problem. And a lot of the stuff I do, you can't really scale. And scaling means to automate it, But a person, a father, the father of this woman, he must know me somehow. I don't know if he's a subscriber. I don't know what it is. But he, hey, my daughter built a home. Could you look at the blueprints and tell if there's anything wrong? Sure. Yeah, I do it. I do that. I've offered that service for 25 years. I used to call it the Blue Review. That was, and I didn't come up with that name. A good friend of mine came up with that name. And what's really interesting is I came up with there was like a front porch deck and a rear bigger deck that the architect had designed completely wrong. He just got these regular floor joists that he's using inside, truss joists outside. Flipping insanity. Flipping insanity. And they're just connected to the house like you would connect regular floors. It's crazy. All right, so I'm okay. I don't know what's going on with the sound. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how to fix that. If I do anything here, I'm going to kill the stream and it's going to die. All right, so I don't know why. I'll try to move the laptop. Maybe that'll help. Maybe there's a little bit of interference from something. I don't know what's going on. Let me turn this off. Maybe it's too close to the other computer. I don't know. Whoa. The reason I'm triple bogey, I think I got quadruple bogey. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Let me know if the sound's any better now by me moving this laptop away from some of the other electronics. That there might be some interference. So I told the woman what happens is I reviewed the blueprints, spent about an hour doing it, making notes, all these notes, and then at the end of that I got my high quality MP3 recorder, and then I recorded a video. I recorded a sound recording, just talking about everything because I can talk so much faster than I can type, even though I'm a pretty fast typist. And I just told her, I said, look, I said, here's the big problem you're going to have, just so you know. I said, is the sound any better, by the way? Can somebody tell me if the sound's any better? Is it any better? And the reason I'm blurry is because I'm on this flipping 10-year-old laptop. So tell me if the sound's any better. I told the woman in the recording, listen, you got to get mentally prepared because when you go back with these flaws in the plans, most architects have got really thin skin. I mean, really, right? Very thin skin, and they're going to push back, and they're going to say that I'm wrong and that they're right. So I said, just be prepared for that because they're wrong. All right. I don't know. Maybe there's no sound. Maybe there's no sound because no one's telling me what's going on. Is the sound any better? Hello? Here, I'll type a message. Here, I'll just do a poll. Not much better. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Maybe I restart the Wi-Fi downstairs. What has to happen is here's what happens in most cases. Most people like to put that ledger board against the house and connect it to the house, and that's where trouble starts because you can't. You want to make sure that ledger board. Anytime you make a penetration through the outside wall of the house, there's always the potential potential for a long-term leak. And here you are punching all these flipping holes every 16 inches on center to be able to through bolt that ledger board on. So why not create haunches as the foundation? A haunch is just like a shelf bracket. Just think of it as a shelf bracket. Why not create a shelf bracket and set the deck on that and out far away? You still have your beam, and you set the other end of the deck on the beam. That's all you got to do. And of course, the deck is secured to the haunches, so it won't pull away. That's easy to do, very simple to do, and that's the way it's got to be done. But we'll see if that's we'll see if she does it. That's all I can say. She can have somebody else engineer that, but it's really, really simple to do. All right. I'm sorry about the sound. I don't know what's going on. Sorry about it. The monitor does not have a mic built in. I have a good mic right here, but I did not set it up. So what I'll do for Saturday next time, I will take my good microphone. I'll get the software, install it in the laptop, and we'll have the good microphone. But if I do that right now, it's not going to do any good because I don't have the drivers for that microphone. All right. So Willow like this. I once again, if you're here and you have got any questions about your home, that's the only reason I'm doing the live stream. So you've got to type your question in the chat, and that's the only thing I have to do. So yesterday the weather was it was kind of crappy in the morning here, a little bit of light rain, and I got a lot of work done in the morning, and I looked at the forecast and it was supposed to clear up a little bit in the afternoon. I thought, that's interesting, and we were supposed to kind of have maybe a little rain today, which we did, more rain tomorrow, and I thought I need to get out and flip and golf, and so I went out. I golfed. It's a long story, but I golfed. So here's where I went. So I'm going to try, but it's not blurry. Yeah, there we go. That's not bad. So that's Lockmere. That's the layout of the Lockmere golf course. Pretty nice flipping course. Here's my score though. This is bad. All right. This is my first time out. Okay, first time out for the year. So the last time I golfed was, I don't know. I might have golfed. The last time I golfed might have been last July, late July maybe. I can't remember. So that's the back nine, right? So I got 55 or 50. Yeah, 55 on the back nine and a 57 on the front nine. All right, so 112. All right, that's actually kind of normal for me. I the best I've ever done is 94. So, gosh, that means well, that means I'm 22 strokes over that. So, right, yeah, 6 plus 18 over that. So anyway, bad. Well, here I had some good shots right at the end. I mean, right at the end, the last 4 holes I came alive, and I flipping came alive. I was doing like bogey golf. Let's see, I kind of did bogey. Well, I blew it on hole. On hole 15, I got a bogey, so that's not bad for me. That's actually great for me. On hole 16, I blew it. I got a flipping triple bogey. I got a 7 on a par 4, and then on hole 17, I got a bogey. That's good. And on 18, which is a par 5, I got a bogey. So I came alive at the end. Hit some really, really, really pretty good shots. Actually, on hole, I got to look at the scorecard here. Let's see. 15, yeah. On hole 15, which is really, it's a downhill, 15, it's a downhill straightaway, just straightaway. On the card, it shows like it has a slight bend in it. There's no way. And I hit the drive, and I mean, it went right down the middle. It had a slight, I don't know if it's called a fade or draw. I mean, a slice is when it really got a big boomerang. But I can't seem to get rid of my draw or whatever it is. So I play it. I mean, I'll aim a little left so that when it comes down, it's in the center. Landed right in the center of the fairway. Awesome. I get out my 3-wood, and I have less problem with my 3-wood. I hit the 3-wood, beautiful. I mean, Will, I'm telling you, if you were there, you'd go, that was a great shot. I mean, a 3-wood probably went, I don't know. I don't know. It went a long way. 170, 180 yards at least. And then I just had to chip it onto the green, which I did, and I was only about 8 feet away from the hole. It was like remarkable. I mean, actually, this is what's crazy. When I chipped that shot, Will, I mean, I keep my head down. I see the club hit the ball. As soon as I'm going through my follow through, I look up. Here's the ball going straight for the flipping pin. I swear to God. And the ball drops on the green about, I don't know, 6 feet in front of the pin and starts to roll. And it misses the hole like by this much. I'm going, oh my God, it might go in. It might go in. And just misses the flipping hole. And but then stops. And so if I make that 8-footer, I get a par. Well, I miss it and it stops about this far away for a tap. Anyway, it's a fun game. All right. And that's why you're not on the tour either. And never will be. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what. Those professional golfers, what a skill, man. What a flipping skill. All right, we're ending this stupid. All right. Any questions about your home? Any questions at all? Type a question in about your home. I'm happy to help you. That's why I'm here. I'm doing a live stream. While you're typing, there we go. Finally, flipping question. Chris, thanks for the question. Can you install a new bed bath door knob on old solid core interior door that previously had an old stone knob? The answer is yes. And what you mean by a new knob, you're talking about what we call a tubular lock. Usually requires that you have to drill a 2 1/8 inch hole. So the answer is yes. You can drill that hole. Easy if you go because you're going to right where the big mortise is for the old mortise lock set. And then your big challenge is going to be, you're going to have a pretty big thing to repair. It was me. Yeah, I know the old doors are a little thinner. That should not be a problem. What you need to do is buy a lock set and put the lock set together, like screwed together, and see if the backs of the escutcheon plates will come together, less than the thickness of the door. Does that make sense? So you got to put it together to see how far you can get that gap, how small you can make that gap. So that's what I would do before I would do anything else. Just and you can probably do that inside the store if they'll let you open up the box. Or maybe you can go. Maybe the manufacturer has got a diagram that shows you that minimum thickness, or it even says on the labeling, will fit doors as thin as some number. But let's just say it's going to work. Let's just say it'll work. All right. So what I would do is I would cut the block of wood that would fill up that mortise. In other words, when you take the old mortise lock set out, generally the space in there is 5/8 of an inch. So I would cut this new block of wood that will fit kind of snugly in there, and then glue it. Put some glue on it, get it in there, and that's gonna help you drill that hole. That's all I can tell you. You can get new mortise lock sets if you want. A company that I put them all in my house in Cincinnati. It's called Nostalgic Warehouse. I think that company's still in business. Nostalgic Warehouse. Go there if you want to get. I mean, they make beautiful stuff. I mean, the skeleton keys. It's a traditional mortise lock set. They're amazing. Very, very high quality. All right, that's a great question. That's a really great question. Uh, while you're typing the next question, and I'm eating the grape, let's open up these lights. But remember, if there aren't any questions, I'm out of here. So you have to ask questions. Try to do this without cutting myself. Well, I'll tell you what, man. A lot of paperwork. Bondo, yes. A lot of flipping paperwork. Looks like they put 3 instruction sheets in this. Look at that, 3. I've never seen that before. That's a first. Here they are. Whoa! They weren't supposed to fall out. Whoa! All right, so here they are. It's a it is a giant flipping LED. Look at the size of that thing. It's got a nice stand, right? So you can set it on things, like oh, like there we go. Let's see if it works. Yeah, pretty. I don't want to aim this at the. You can see if I aim it at the monitor, it's going to blow you guys out. Looks like it's got a thing on the back that shows you how much battery is left. It's got 3 different intensities. It's got a red light for night working, flashing red. All right, and then it's Bluetooth, of course. It's got, both the regular USB and the small micro USB, that you would charge, to be able to charge up the battery. It comes with a cable right here. You can see the USB cable. And of course, one of the nice things, you can hang this too, meaning the base. So if you want to hang it up on something, aim the light, at something, you can. So obviously this Bluetooth with your phone. So whatever music is on your phone, it's going to play on this. These bases are magnetic. Got magnets in it, so it sticks to metal. I don't have any metal in here to test it, but I can do that. So I can make the magnets stick to each other. So looks like they might be nice. Looks like it might work. All right. So that's the Infinity X1. It's called the Infinity X1, and it obviously it's got light, it's got sound, it comes with USB, it's Bluetooth, and it's magnetic. That's what it's saying here. It's got light, sound, USB, Bluetooth, magnetic. Let's see what it says on the box. The big problem with these, I think they're only available in one store. I don't think they're available anywhere else but Costco. So here's the specs. On high, if you have it on high intensity, 700 lumens, medium 300, low is 100. It'll last 2 hours and 30 minutes on high. It'll last 12 hours on low. So like if you're camping, that's pretty good. I don't know what this is. Must be the sound. This is a symbol for sound. But it's got 196 CD, 81 CD, 25 CD. I don't know what that is. It says it won't break if you drop it a meter, and that it's evidently it's waterproof. All right. The battery is not replaceable. Here's the funny thing. Check this out. Check this out. So this is how bogus. This is why you always have to question everything. So here's a picture of a construction guy using this thing. So he's obviously he's working on blueprints. He's got blueprints right here. And here's the thing. And I'm just going to assume the light's on because he needs the light to work. But the light would be shining right in the guy's eyes. I mean, the light's pointing right at his eyes. So if he's just listening to the speaker, that's fine. All right. But anyway, oh, and here I didn't show this. It's got a carabiner, all right, that you can put over a pipe. So you can open it up and hook it over a pipe. All right. All right, so that's a little all right. Chris wants to know, have you ever had to hang an over the stove microwave without the bracket? No, I've always used the bracket because if you don't use the bracket, it's probably going to fall. So I would highly recommend you get the bracket. So get the bracket. All right. Any other questions? The door. The door. I don't know what the door means. I don't know what the door means, Will. Chris also said, thanks. I've used a block of wood and auto bonded to patch holes in these types of doors, just trying to keep the stream going. Okay, great. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, all right. So I'll keep the stream going a little bit, and I'm going to go off the rails a little bit. It has nothing to do with home improvement. Here, actually, let's do a poll. This is really important. All right, so take that poll. Is the door metal so the magnetic will hold the light? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're taking a poll. I'll do that. So let's see. I got to do by the picture here. So there. So yeah, you can see that it's up there. So yeah, it's sticking right there. All right. Only 50% yes so far. All right. While you're taking a poll, I'll explain it. So China, run by CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and I don't know how many billion people live in China. 2, 3, I don't know, 4. A lot of people, and I got some big cities. Shanghai, and as you might expect, not everybody in China thinks and feels the same way. I mean, we got that problem in all the countries in the world, right? In Shanghai, evidently, I don't know if this is true. This is what I've heard. They're the most freedom-loving Chinese people. Well, I guess for whatever reason, the Chinese Communist Party's decided, you know what? We've had enough of your shenanigans or whatever. So in the face of the illness, and if you're new to the stream, that's what I call whatever's been happening the past 2.5 years. I call it the illness. It's just a little over 2 years actually. So they say there's a big outbreak of it, and so what? Like, big deal. I mean, it's just like the common flu. I had it. I survived, and I mean, there's many people that die from the flu die from the illness. All right, so 26 million people they've got on complete lockdown. 26 million people, and people are starving. They're not even going out and getting food. They're not bringing food to people. The thing that most disturbed me yesterday is that they have government workers going around, which I didn't understand this part because if the people are home, I don't see why they would be doing this. But maybe the people that they say are sick and they're taking them away can't necessarily believe that. That people like cats are anyway. They had all these live cats and they had put them in bags, like these cloth bags, and they had bags of cats, and these bags are kind of moving, and you could hear the cats crying in these bags, and they were going to take them and kill the cats. And then on video, they showed one of these Chinese, I don't know if he's a soldier or just somebody, but he took a shovel and he killed a dog out on the sidewalk. It's really bad stuff going on over there. I mean, if they're doing that to animals, what are they doing to the people? I mean, but the fact that you've got 26 million people in prison right now in their homes. The most disturbing thing was a video that was taken at nighttime. How this person got the video out, who knows? I don't know how they did it, but it was taken at night, and you could see all the high rises of the people living. There's all this screaming going on, this horrible, haunting screaming of the people in agony about of being locked in their homes, and they can't get any food. It's really, really horrible stuff. Really horrible stuff. And if this is true, which I believe it is true. I mean, just hard to believe it's not. Um, you know, you just have to ask yourself. You just have to ask yourself, like, well, why? These are all rhetorical questions. Why would someone want to do that? What's the whole purpose? And you know, what's the you know, and this is going on in New Zealand and Australia to a large degree over the past 6 to 9 months, to a very large degree, putting people in illness camps. Like, are you kidding me? There's all kinds of videos out on the internet about that. You know, forcing people to stay on their front porch. It's crazy, crazy stuff. But the whole takeaway, here's all I wanted to say. Hello, Marcus. How you doing? Um, the whole, my takeaway after watching that video, I mean, think about this. You've got 26 million people, all right? 26 million people in Shanghai. If, how many, they don't have 26 million police officers. And to have 20, they wouldn't be able to mobilize and have 26 million of the Chinese army to get there that fast. Right. The point I'm trying to make is this is precisely why you never want to give up your guns. This is why we have the Second Amendment in our country. Because once you started, it's 26 million people. In other words, if you go back through history, here, France, really, really popular, powerful country. What completely toppled the French government? Do you remember? The people didn't have any food. And when people get hungry, things go downhill really quickly. And I'm just here to tell you that it's going to be really interesting to see how it ends. Even if the people, you know, get out and just, here's the only other thing you need to know. All right. So, you know, so I'm a big gun guy, and I've got an AR-15, and yeah, I've got magazines that will take 30 rounds and they can fire it pretty quickly. I might only be able to have 120 rounds on me, maybe 150. You can't carry unlimited ammunition. You just can't do it. And this is why if you're in battle, you get overrun. Like the first side that comes out of ammo, they're the ones that get overrun. That happened to my dad. That's why my dad got the Bronze Star in World War II. Anyway, these people, they get hungry enough, and they know this. So if a particular soldier or policeman has got 30 or 40 rounds in his pistol or whatever he's carrying his gun, so he might get 20 or 30 of the people, but then he runs out of ammo, then they're going to kill him and pummel this guy to death. So if 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 of these people of the 26 million get out, I'm telling you, it's not going to end well. This thing, and the thing is, I don't know. really locked down trying to get the truth out of there. I don't know that we'll ever know the truth, but it's really the whole point I'm trying to make is if you live here in America, um, you may not like guns. All right, I get that, but it should just end there. You should go. In other words, if you don't like guns, well then my recommendation to you would be don't buy one, don't get a gun, but don't stop me from having one because if they try to pull that over here, you're going to be so thankful for my gun because I'm going to make sure that you get food. Simple as that. So that's your takeaway. That's your takeaway. In other words, this would not have happened if the Chinese people were allowed to own guns. See what I'm trying to say? This would have not happened. So if you got any questions about it, just let me know. I saw this on Tucker Carlson tonight. Tucker shows stuff that most other people don't show. If you're not watching Tucker Carlson, just it's the only show I watch on that network because the rest of it's crap. It's all crap. But Tucker, they've not been able to muzzle him people every night. And I'm just telling you, it's going to get bad. All right, any questions? Grades are pretty good. If a double pane vinyl slider door has a single broken pane glass, can that broken? No, you might be able to call a glazing company, Chris. You might be able to call a glass company. You can get pieces of insulated glass made any size you want. A good glazing company can absolutely come out. They take off the trim that holds the glass in place, and they can measure it, and then they can make and bring out a brand new insulated glass panel. You do not have to. You do not have to replace the door, generally speaking. All right, so generally speaking, you do not have to replace the door. With technology, here's what's cool. In the old days, you have to call up the company. They'd have to send somebody out. They'd look at it and they'd tell you what's going on. Now, you can call up the company and you can say, hey, look, I've got this problem. Can I take photographs and show it to you and email you photographs and you tell me what we can do? In almost all cases, they're going to say, yeah, email the photos here, text the photos here. And then that way it saves them from sending somebody out to your home. And they'll tell you exactly what photos to take. All right, it was for a customer's fix and flip. Yeah, you should be able to replace it. I mean, just think about it. In other words, door companies that would make glass doors like that, where you could not replace the glass with some ease, they wouldn't sell very many doors. I mean, once people caught on, they'd go, I'm not buying that door. My kid throws rocks. My neighbor's kid throws flipping rocks at our house. I don't want to have to replace the door every time the glass breaks. So the window companies, door companies, they all have to make it so that the glass can, generally speaking, be easily replaced. What about the vacuum? Oh, I think you're talking about inside the two pieces of glass. When they make the insulated glass, they get rid of the air in there and they replace it with a with one of the noble gases, with argon or whatever. I went on a factory tour. Hard to believe, could have been 20 years ago, watching them do this. It's a really interesting process how they make the insulated glass. The glass is very clean. It's a very sterile environment, but you're exactly right. It's just regular room air that's in there, and it's got humidity in it and whatever. So they got to suck that out, and then they have to replace it with argon gas. And the way they do that, that seal between the two pieces of glass, it's like, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like the seal that's on top of the vials of the experimental biological agent. All right. So in other words, think about that seal on the experimental biological agent. Hopefully that you didn't get. Hopefully You did not get the EBA. All right. So here, I think they take a needle and they put it through the top of the vial. They hold it upside down, and then they get some of the liquid out, and of course, no liquid's seeping out along that seal, and they pull the needle out. Well, the exact same process of how they get the air out between the glass and how they put the argon in. Pretty cool, huh? What else you want to know? If you have any other questions, if you have any questions about how to drill steel, because I see new people are showing up, you've got to ask the question here because I've already talked about it. I have a few grapes, trying to get rid of them. If you have any other questions about any issue, I don't care what it is, go ahead and ask. I'm going to end the poll. All right. Happy to answer questions. That's why I'm here. Sorry about the crappy sound. Very interesting. 10 people voted. Half of you didn't know what was going on in Shanghai, China. Wow. Crazy. Crazy. It's really 20. Understand this. We don't have a city in the United States that's even half that size. 26 million people live in Shanghai. Right. If my 70 house has water intrusion every time it rains from one wall, which is preferred, and exterior, you need to put in my linear French drain. I've got a streaming video that I sell that I create 90 minutes, a 90-minute video that shows you exactly how to put a drain on the outside of your house. Stops the water in almost all cases. I mean, every case. The first thing you have to do, here's the first mistake almost everyone has that I see when I do autopsies on these problems, Chris. Almost every single one of these houses, the downspout water roof, it just dumps onto the ground. It just dumps onto a splash block. You know, so I'll get the link for you. If Lorraine was here, she could type and talk at the same time. Here it is. There's the link to that video. 90 minutes. First thing you have to do is you got to make sure all the water from the roof is collected into pipes and piped as far away from the house to the lowest spot on the lot or to an approved city storm sewer connection. Then you can start putting the linear French drain. But typically, we actually trench for the linear French drain first because it's deeper. Because the downspout drain pipes, they only have to put a foot in the ground. All right, so yeah, that's exactly right, Will. It's insanity what's going on there. They're trying to kill off those people. Hear what I said, 26 million people. What's the population of LA? What's the population? I think New York City is the biggest city, right? What's New York City? 8 million people? That's all? 6 million people. So what? Bad stuff going on. Any questions? If you're new to the stream, I don't know how to eat grapes. Today I was in the mood for grapes. If you have any questions, type in. I'm happy to answer your questions. Well, Chris, you need an exterior system. How do I want to describe this? Why? This is a really bad analogy. Putting in an interior system on a house, to me, it's like opening up the doors and windows of your home in the wintertime, letting the cold in, and then you just decide to put on more clothes and deal with it. So in other words, why, this is a rhetorical question. Why would anybody want the water to come into their home. It just doesn't even make sense to me. All right, so um, just get that video, watch it. You have to understand, Chris. My college degree, I majored in geology with a focus in hydrogeology, and hydrogeology is the study of groundwater. So once you understand how water moves through the soil, you instantly see, like, oh my gosh, I can see why that is going to work and why no water is going to make it into the house. So watch that video. PEX versus copper for DOM water. I don't know what DOM water is. My plants are having trouble. I think I over fertilized my tomato plants. I've got to I'm going to give them some regular water today. The ones wilting really bad. And I watered them and they still come back. Kathy thinks I overfed them. All right, so I'm going to try to solve that problem later today. Dad, I don't know what DOM means. You have PEX versus copper for DOM. Oh, domestic water. I see what it means, domestic. I have PEX in my own home. Copper is so outrageously expensive right now. It's crazy. Yeah, domestic water supply. Got it. PEX is, here's, about 2 months ago, I did a live show how to make connections. So this is the expansion ring or compression collar. Here's the actual PEX tubing. This is just regular coupling. And I made this joint up even after cutting the pipe, maybe in 8 seconds. In 8 seconds, I had a waterproof connection. In 8 seconds, you couldn't even cut the copper tubing. If you try to do it too fast, hit that knob a little too much, you're going to crack the copper. So, I had this joint completely finished before you had to even cut the copper, much less clean the copper, much less clean the fitting, much less flux the copper, much less flux the fitting, much less heat it all up, solder it, let it cool down enough that you could keep moving and wipe it all off, because once it's cooled down, you have to wipe it off to get all that excess flux. And PEX so much faster. And there's only a joint where it comes out of the wall under the cabinet, and then there's a joint like this back at the manifold, unless you do a daisy chain system. So PEX. Grow light. No, I think I overfed them. They're not dead, but this one looks pretty bad right now. Pretty bad, drooping pretty bad. I'm gonna give it a drink. I'm just letting it try to dry it a little bit more. I don't want to overwater, Kev. Chris, for drains, when do you use ABS and when do you use PVC? It depends on the code. Well, polyvinyl chloride, PVC, is required in the code. Pretty much on the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains. For some reason, on the West Coast, they really prefer ABS. It's a little bit stronger plastic. You just have to see what your code official says. Don't ever guess. Find out what they require. You can actually read up on ABS. It's really an interesting plastic. Yeah, you can't mix the two. I can tell you that. I don't know that I haven't. I mean, we've never had access for the most part. Every place I've done plumbing, I've been a plumber since 1981, or before that, a master plumber since 1981. I couldn't get ABS. I mean, it was in my market. We only had copper, 3-inch, 4-inch copper stack, cast iron, and PVC. That's all I could get. You could get the really cheap, crappy plastic for sewer and drain lines. The really cheap, flimsy stuff. That they make PVC SDR 35 for sewer and drain lines. That's it's made for sewers. But it's not thick enough for inside use in a home. But this SDR 35 PVC is a good material. But out west, it's all that black, all that flipping black pipe, man. But read up on it. If you go to Charlotte Pipe, go to charlottepipe.com. Charlotte's probably the biggest manufacturer, and they got a really cool PDF file about it that explains it to you really well. But yeah, you got to stay with the same material and always make sure that you read the label of the solvent, the welder, the glue, whatever you want to make sure it's compatible. Um, all right, missing a lot of people. um, Lorene hasn't stopped by. Missing Steve. Jason's not here today. A lot of people not around. Because I'm mixing up the schedule. Oh well, we'll come back. Yeah, Don, because the water main broke. You had a water main. You had a water main break somewhere in the system, and then what happens is when a water main breaks, you know, water, sediment get in the water, um, and when they recharge and fill the main back, when the main drains out, you got a bunch of air in there, and when they fill that main back up and pressurize it, it knocks some of the sediment loose, some of the rust, some of the scale, and that's why. So it's just got a water main break. That's what happened. Akron, Ohio. Yeah, I would think it's primarily PVC if you're in Akron. I was from Cincinnati. Don S. I've got a 10 gauge stranded electrical cable. Is it a good idea to tin the ends of cable for connections? Well, if you tin it, it's going to make it really stiff, and you're going to have a harder time, I think, making connections. Depends on the type of connection. Um, you're allowed to use wire nuts on stranded wire. I mean, electricians use it all the time in commercial work. I mean, you're allowed to use um, wire nuts. I mean, they're made. Just make sure you get the right wire nuts made for stranded wire. So I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would tin that. Okay, so here in Minnesota, the city flushed. I don't know why they would flush the water main. I don't. The other thing that could happen, Don, you'll get that problem. Um, we had that problem in Cincinnati where the fire department would come out and they would test. They would want to open up the fire hydrants and run a fire hydrant just to make sure that the valve was working okay. And that, believe it or not, that rapid. What happens is actually this is a really great teaching moment. Now that you mention it, so when you think about this, so imagine you turn on your garden hose and you see how fast the water's shooting out of your garden hose. Um, how fast do you think the water is moving inside an 8-inch or a 12-inch water main to replace the water that's coming out of your garden hose? Maybe, in other words, if the water shoots out of your garden hose, if you've ever kind of timed it, it's kind of an interesting exercise when you think about it. If you kind of watch the water come out of your hose and you kind of watch one spot and you kind of count for a second, you might see the water has traveled 6 or 8 feet, maybe 10 feet in 1 second. So that amount of water that's coming to your garden hose, if it moves 10 feet in 1 second, we'll just say that, how far do you think the water moved inside the 10-inch water main or 12-inch water main? Do you think it moved a half an inch? You've got so much water, it's not moving hardly at all. The water inside the water main is moving really slowly, because there's a lot of water. But when they open up a fire hydrant, like in Cincinnati, all the fire hydrants were 6-inch, some were 8. And they open up that fire hydrant all the way. I mean, all of a sudden, the water inside the water main really starts moving quickly, and it causes turbidity in the main, and it breaks some of the rust and stuff off, and that turns the water brown, and all that brown water doesn't make it out. So then it eventually comes up into your house. So it could have been, it could have been a fire. It could have been a big fire. There could have been a big fire near you. It could have been that too. All right. So, see how well scarcity works, by the way? I've talked about that, the psychological trigger of scarcity. It's the most powerful psychological trigger of all. Exterior window trim peeling. You've got the good Sherwin-Williams urethane paint, but is it okay to use latex primer? Well, that's a great question. Right? Sand the bare to blend in. Whenever, that's a great question. So you always look at the label of the finished paint and see what they say about priming. Often the paint manufacturers will have blended a special primer they want you to use. So just read the label on the paint can and see what they say. Odds are they'll have a bare wood primer. But Will, I don't know when your house was built, but if it was built before 1967 or right around 1967, you could be dealing with lead paint. You know, the old original layers of paint. So if you sand it, you're creating lead dust and bad stuff. So be careful. Be careful. You know, I've got a column about lead paint, how toxic it is. Really, really toxic. So toxic. Bad stuff. Ted, are fiberglass replacement windows that much better over vinyl? That's really a good question. Actually, you reminded me to do something. I got to write a note here. Email Merrill. All right, so get this. So anyway, here's the answer. The best windows are replacement windows are ones that carry the AAMA, AAMA gold label, the gold label. Well, either fiberglass or vinyl might be able to carry that label. So I don't know. It's a really stringent testing process that you have to go through to get that certification. And so what you want to do is you want to try to find a window that's got the AMA gold label. That's the and then it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what it's made out of, but I tend to like fiberglass more than I like vinyl personally. But I'd be looking for the AMA gold label. You just want gold label windows. Simple as that. All right. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to get out of here and dream about golf. I can tell you a little bit more about golf. Let me tell you about the 16-footer I sunk yesterday. 16-foot putt. I walked it off after it went in. I thought I got to measure this one, and it was ran pretty straight. All right, there wasn't. It was the greens at this place that I played Lockmere. They're not too tough, but then again, some of them are. I mean, some of them got some slope to it. It's but this one was pretty level. I wasn't rushed. And boom, went right in. It was amazing. And just, and I didn't pull any of the pins. I'm not pulling any of the pins. And I think the new reg is the last couple of years, you don't have to pull the pin anymore. And in years past, I think if you didn't pull the pin when you putted, it was a penalty stroke. So, I'm not pulling the flipping pin. All right. So, not when I'm playing by myself. And I was playing by myself. I didn't have a partner. And really, no witnesses. Nope, no witnesses. No, none. But just so you know, Jack, that's really an interesting point. What's really unique about the game of golf? I don't know if you're a golfer or not. I'm not much of one. Will's a golfer here. Golf is an interesting game. It's a game you play against yourself. You don't, you can have a partner, you could have a foursome. It doesn't matter. But you're not playing against them. You're playing against yourself. Think about it. So any game that you can play that you don't like you can't play tennis against yourself. That doesn't work very well. You can't play ping pong against yourself. You can't play baseball against yourself. You really can't play basketball against yourself. But you can play darts against yourself. You can play golf against yourself. You can swim against yourself because you're just going against the clock. You can run track against yourself. There's a lot of games you can do against yourself. Golf happens to be one. And so it just, all that matters is do you what your score is, and if as long as you're being honest with you're not cheating yourself. I used to play years ago when I first started playing golf. I I play with a friend of mine. He was another contractor guy, and he would tee off, and wherever the ball landed, he he would either take his foot or his club, and he would move the ball, so it got a little bit better lie. And I was like, I didn't say anything to him. I just thought, well, I think you're allowed to do that. so, but we're not playing for money. We're not pros. We're not. I don't care. I don't care what he does. So that was funny. No witnesses to that shot. I once made a long, long time ago. I once made a 50-footer, 50-foot putt. I did have witnesses for that. So that was pretty real. And then I played. I used to play golf. Gosh, how long has it been? 20 years ago at the TPC club in Cincinnati, Ohio. My veterinarian friend, my wife and his wife worked together when I was first married. So this is going back 49 years ago. All right. They worked together side by side as outpatient clerks at the hospital. So I got to know him really well. And his father was a vet who had started the business, but his hobby was buying real estate. And he made a lot of money buying. His dad was really smart. He knew exactly what properties to buy. He buys this. I don't know how many acres you need for a golf course. Well, what do you need? 100 acres, 200. Anyway, he bought a big farm. Let's just say it's the 300-acre farm out in the middle of nowhere, like way north of Cincinnati. But eventually, development went right up that way. The father must have known it. And then the people who own these TPC clubs came to him and said, we want to buy the farm. It's going to make a perfect golf course. And so they made a hell of a deal. And the son, by that time, the father had died. The mother was still alive. They were able to carve her house, and it remained. They built the club kind of around her house. And actually, when you would go on hole number 16 or 17, you would go right by her house. And in fact, it was located in such a way, it was located on the right side of a fairway. And my buddy would collect just 5-gallon buckets worth of balls because they had a big fence up. Like if you hit the ball over that fence, you're not going over to get it. So they would collect hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of balls, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds all summer long. Anyway, I'm getting to the point. So on this one hole of this course, I got to play there all the time. Here's what I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you the most important part. So when they were making the deal, my friend, who was probably in his 40s at the time, he said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Wait a minute." He goes, "We'll sell you the ground, but one of the conditions of the ground is that for the rest of my life, I get 160 rounds of golf for free. I don't have to pay a membership or anything. I get cart, I get everything, and I get 2 carts, 106, whatever." They said, "Sure, whatever you want." Well, it's hard to play 160 rounds of golf. I mean, if you play a week, and you have a foursome, you need 40 weeks to run 160 rounds of golf. All right, so he could never get a foursome together. It was only him and another guy, maybe 3 of us. He would never use the 160 rounds of golf. So I got to play out there a lot. I played at this TPC a lot. All right, I suck, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, on one of the holes, the greens, I don't know which hole it is at the Masters. I know it's at the Masters because I watched a video. But there's at least one green at the Masters that's like a flipping amphitheater, I think. I mean, it's this parabolic dish shape. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, if wherever they put the pin, you're screwed. Right? So they had a hole like this at this TPC, and I hit this putt this one day. I had to aim the ball. I'm telling you, like if the pin was here, I aimed the ball 8 feet to the right of it or to the left, because of the break. I tapped it, and my buddy thought there's no way it's going to go, no flipping way. And it was probably a 20, 25 foot long putt. comes up and around, boo, right into the hole. You know, back then we didn't have the stupid cell phone. No one had a video camera. It's like, oh my gosh. But anyway, whatever. All right, enough about golf. All right. All right, no more questions. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks very much for being here. I'm going to do a live stream Saturday morning. In the meantime, I will try to get the microphone onto this laptop. I'll make it work. I can absolutely plug it in. Just a matter of getting the software for it, the drive. All right. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate it. If you're a religious person, you should be praying for the people in Shanghai, China. I don't know how that's going to come out, but it's going to be really bad, and it's going to be bad. It's probably already very bad. There's probably, well, I don't think anybody's died yet of starvation. You can survive for weeks and weeks and weeks without food, but it goes on, it's going to be really bad, really bad. But that's why, you know, like I said, if you don't like guns, that's okay. You don't have to buy one. But don't stop me from getting one, because if that happens over here, I'm going to make sure that you get food. All right. So, yeah, I don't, the worked fine on Monday. So I don't think there's a problem with the laptop. I think I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to restart the modem, restart the router. You know, I haven't done that in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. If you don't do that at your home, you should be doing it every week. And in our case, our modem has got a battery pack in it. So it kind of retains some settings. You actually have to pull that battery out too, and then leave and just count to like 30. And that completely drains off, charges off the RAM chips inside that thing. Plug the battery back in, put it together, turn it back on. Everything runs much better. My guess is that's the issue. Yes, exactly right, Ted. I can shoot squirrels, and there's so many around here. But I'm just saying, just always keep that in mind. If you don't like something, don't try to put your value system on top of somebody else. In other words, if you don't like guns, that's fine. Just don't buy them. You know, like if you don't, like here in my HOA, if you don't want to rent your house to strangers, fine. Don't rent your house to strangers, but don't tell me how to do it. But that's what they just did. They just passed a bylaw that says I'm not allowed to rent to people now. Bunch of assholes. Bunch of flipping assholes. Okay. Yeah, it's a God-given right. Freedom is a God-given right. Self-defense, God-given right. We have so many God-given rights, yet there's these people in power who they feel that they can tell you what you can do with your rights. They can bite me. Big time. All right. Gotta go. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna go work on the microphone right now. I'm Tim Carter, and you have been watching Ask the Builder with Bad Microphone today. The Ask the Builder live stream. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on. If the picture's breaking up, it's because the Wi-Fi. That's what it is. I'm telling you right now, it's a Wi-Fi. If you don't like squirrels, you can try rabbits. I think it's just a Wi-Fi connection, and I'm right by the Wi-Fi router. I mean, right through this window. Typically, I get a great signal. Like my new computer, it's working fine. So, and it could be that I need to restart the laptop. I'll restart. I haven't restarted the laptop. I'll power it down. And so on Saturday morning, it should work great. And by the way, I'll be here Saturday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Saturday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern. So, all right. Thanks for being here. I'll restart the computer and get the microphone installed. We'll be in great shape. I'm Tim Carter. You've been watching Ask the Builder. Thanks for being here.